Topic for today, negative exponents. And we've worked with positive exponents before. When I mean exponents, I mean the actual exponent out here, not the base number out front. And that's something that we can give examples of a little bit later. But when we did 5 to the third power, obviously that's just 5 times 5 times 5. We'd have 25 times 5, and that would be 125. Now, with this negative exponent, a lot of people want to just make this negative 125. And that's not correct. Negative 125, if we had negative 5 to the third power, that'd be negative 5 times negative 5 times negative 5. That'd be 25 times negative 5, which would actually be negative 125. In this case right here, when you see this negative exponent, that's going to tell you right away that we're going to be doing the reciprocal. I hope I spelled that right. Reciprocal of 5, and we're going to be multiplying that together 3 times. So the reciprocal of 5. So just remember that 5 is the same thing as 5 over 1 if you write that as a fraction. 5 and 5 over 1 are the same thing. The reciprocal of 5 over 1 is 1/5. Reciprocal just means the multiplicative inverse, or reversing this around, flipping it around. So it's actually 1/5. So we're actually, to answer this question up here, we need to take 1/5, which is the reciprocal of 5, and multiply it by itself 3 times. So it's going to be 1/5 times 1/5 times 1/5. Top's going to be 1. 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. So the answer is not 125. It's not negative 125. It's 1/125th, which should be a fairly small number. It would be a decimal if we actually did that. That would be below 1 whole. So this would be your final answer to this problem right here. So another example for you. 2 to the negative 4th power. Okay? If we had 2 to the 4th power, we'd just be doing 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. This negative in the exponent indicates that we need to take this number, the reciprocal of that, to the 4th power. So 2, the reciprocal of that, 2 is the same thing as 2 over 1. So the reciprocal of 2 over 1, the flipped around version, is 1/2. So we need to take 1/2 to the 4th power. 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2. That would be 1, and let's see, that'd be 4, so that would be 16 if you multiply that together. So the answer to this question is 1/16. It's not negative 16. It's not 1 over, or it's not just 16, it's not negative 16, it's 1 over 16. Now this time we're starting with a fraction. 2/5 to the negative 4th power. Again, if you ever see this negative in an exponent up here, in the small number up here, that means we need to take this, take the reciprocal of that to whatever power this is telling us. And the reciprocal of 2 over 5 is 5 over 2. So we'd be doing 5 over 2 times 5 over 2 times 5 over 2 times 5 over 2. 2, 4, 8, 16's on the bottom. And then that would be 25 times 25, which I believe would be 625. I think. We'll go 625. I think that's right. So this would be your final answer. Now, you may want to change this to a mixed number by finding out how many times 16 goes into 625. But for now, we're just going to leave it like this. So I've given you a couple of examples. We've done a couple different ways to do this, where we start with a fraction or start with a whole number. So why don't you take the time right now just to pause this quick, try these problems, write out your work, write out what you're doing, and then start the video again just to see how you did. Again, the negative in the exponent means we're going to be doing the reciprocal. So let's start by just getting the reciprocals for both of these. The reciprocal for 1 over 6 is 6 over 1, which is actually just 6. So the number we're going to be using here is just 6. Or you can use 6 over 1 and simplify it when you're done. Over here, the reciprocal of 3. Well, remember, 3 is the same thing as 3 over 1. So if I do the reciprocal and flip that around, I'm going to be working with 1/3. So now here I need 6 times 6 times 6, or 6 over 1 times 6 over 1 times 6 over 1. That'll be the same thing. That was to the third power. Here it's going to be to the fourth power. So it's 1/3 times 1/3 times 1/3 times 1/3. So here, over here, we have 6 times 6, which is 36. And I think that 36 times 6 is 216, but we'll just check it out. Yep. So my final answer for this one is 216. If you did it this way, you're going to get 216 over 1, which is just 216. Over here, 1 on the top, obviously. Here would be 9 and 9. 9 times 9 is 81, so it should be 1 over 81 would be your final answer here. And that would be all you need to do for that. So this overall, I think, is a pretty simple concept. Just understand that if you have that negative in the exponent, not in the base number down here, but in the exponent, you are going to be working with the reciprocals or the flipped around versions of what you started with.